Coming up, authorities take one man into custody after finding stolen property and a large amount of meth at a home in Carl Junction. And experts say winterizing your home will not only lower energy costs, but can prepare you for all types of weather. Also, Missouri Southern State University lights up the campus with holiday cheer. Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bonk. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
74 is our magic number for this December the 2nd. Dates back some 51 years ago. That's where we were on December the 2nd, 1970, and we're going to be right there today. So we are already in record watch mode. Now, that is specifically at Joplin Regional Airport. If we were transitioning to Chanute, only got to make it to 73 to tie a record. That one dates just back to 1995, so a little bit more recent than the 1970 record. Current conditions over 7th and Rangeline now sit at 52 degrees. Now we're going to have a couple degree drop here before we get to sunrise. Cool spots being Neodesha and Parsons only at 38, Miami down at 36, Grove at 35. So we are all over the board right now temperature-wise. There's just little pockets everywhere, but then we see a whole bunch of 50s, whether it be Lamar, Joplin, Carthage, really throughout southwest Missouri, and a nice-looking Skywatch storm tracker that is once again abnormally dry. We're going to be needing just a little bit of rain. Movement in the jet stream has come in the form of just a little bit of movement up to the north of us. So we're starting to see that ridge kind of get over us, but really everything from the Pacific Northwest, the apex of the ridge, it's never moved. It's been stuck right there for 3 days, which is why we just keep on warming up to the tune of mid-70s with a whole lot of sunshine throughout the course of our Thursday. Future track, like I said, dry as can be. And then as we get into Friday, a little mixture of some clouds and sunshine, but still back into the 70s on Friday as well. Saturday and Sunday, very, very mild, 64 and 63, can't complain about that. Saturday is rain, scattered, not much accumulation. Sunday does bring us a cold front on the backside of it, as you'll notice that overnight low from Sunday into Monday, down below the freezing point. But then we just kind of normalize our temperatures from Monday through Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, you really can't beat today's temperatures.
We just got to kind of even it out after today and tomorrow.
Yeah. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy it now. Yeah.
Enjoy this Thursday and Friday.
For sure.
We're going to see some kids out wearing shorts today.
That's a little bit ridiculous, but sure. They will be, they will. All right, thanks, Michael.
Well, I've got to tell you about my trip to Grand Forks, North Dakota one time, where it was, 15 degrees? But for them, this is the first time they'd had anything above zero in several weeks. Those college kids out there just walking around in shorts.
Yep, seen it. All right, thanks, Michael. One man is in custody after authorities found stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction. Detectives with the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team served a warrant at a home in CJ after what they call a long-term investigation. They found several stolen items on the property, including a stolen pickup out of Cedar County, a UTV out of Kansas, a camper out of Jasper County, and several trailers. Odette detectives also found a large amount of methamphetamine in a camper on that property. A Tulsa, Oklahoma man is hospitalized and is in police custody after police say he shot an officer. Investigators say the man believed his wife was cheating on him during a trip to Houston. He reportedly threatened to kill her when she returned home. She contacted police and they escorted her to a car at Tulsa's airport. At that point, police say the husband opened fire on the car. The wife and a man identified her as her brother and drove away as police chased the suspect into a parking garage. He shot an officer in the chest before police shot him in the foot. The officer was wearing a bulletproof vest and is expected to be okay. The woman and her brother are cooperating with the investigation. Tulsa's airport was reopened after a brief early morning shutdown on Wednesday. The J.M. Smucker Company announces it sold its dry dog food business located in Frontenac, Kansas. Diamond Pet Foods bought the business in a deal that the company says is worth roughly $33 million. In a press release, Rob Ferguson, Senior VP and General Manager of Smucker's Pet Food Division, said, quote, This divestiture enables us to focus investments and resources on areas of our pet food and pet snacks business positioned for growth and profitability. The company did not say how the deal would affect employees at the Frontenac plant. Dr. Lee Norman, who led Kansas through the coronavirus pandemic until his abrupt departure last month, says he was Fauci'd out by COVID-19 politics. Governor Laura Kelly announced on November 19th that Norman had stepped down after serving as the health department's top administrator since Kelly took office in January of 2019. But in an interview with Kansas News Service, Norman says he was asked to resign. He cites constant friction between the governor and the Republican-led legislature and compares himself to Dr. Anthony Fauci, the federal government's top infectious disease expert. Well, now that it is December, it might be time to start thinking about ways to weatherize our homes. And experts say it's not just something to do in the winter months. Economic Security Corporation's Weatherization unit says there are things we can do now and even year-round to prepare homes for all kinds of weather. They tell us one tip that could save a lot this winter.
We call them low-cost, no-cost energy-saving tips. So one of the things is to turn your thermostat down 5 degrees and maybe wear a little more clothes. So turning it down 5 degrees can save you between $150 to $250 a year on your heating bills.
You can find more information on the services the Economic Security Corporation provides on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Wednesday, McDonald County schools, kids were breaking the rules, wearing hats in school. They were allowed to do so because they donated at least $1 to the county's Shop with a Hero program. That program matches a child in need with area first responders to go shopping for Christmas gifts.
Shop with a Hero is to me an amazing community event that involves both the schools and all the first responders in our area, and then also our families. So it is the true epitome of what a community is when they come together and support one another.
McDonald County's Shop with a Hero program usually serves around 140 kids, but because of an increased need this year, the department is setting a goal to serve 200 families. Well, the residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. Yesterday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. Southern lit up its Christmas tree and lights outside the Student Center, an event called Southern Lights. University also offered carriage rides, arts and crafts, and a photo booth.
This is definitely a family event. This is probably the event where we have most of our families come out to, like our non-traditional students that have a family. This is definitely the most popular event for them because their kids can enjoy it as well. It's definitely another great aspect of this event.
Southern Lights event was also a chance for students participating in the school's Angel Tree program to pick up their gifts. It's 5:07.
Our temperatures are rather widespread on this Thursday. We can talk about possible record. Oh, my bad. Our temperatures are quite spread out on this Thursday morning. We're going to keep talking about record highs, which I know sounds a little bizarre when we look at temperatures as low as 35 degrees right now in Grove, but already 52 in Joplin. It's almost a 20-degree difference across the 4 states. Whole lot of sunshine, a little south breeze today. Very, very beautiful, beautiful temperatures for not only today. Remember, 74 will tie the record at Joplin. 73 will tie the record at Chanute. And then we'll almost repeat this for Friday before we get some much-needed rain over the weekend.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Gorillas look to be kings and queens of the MIAA Conference jungle last night on the hardwood. Plus, as the knot of the supply chain bottleneck slowly untangles, we ask if you've felt the impact. And more countries report cases of the Omnicron variant. Scientists in the U.S. work to understand this new strain and how contagious it may be. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
It was a big night for Pittsburgh State basketball as the Gorillas hit the floor at home. It's the MIAA Conference opener against Newman. We'll pick it up on the women's side with Pitt State coming in with momentum, 4-1, 3-game winning streak. And young players going to work in the third quarter. Corinna Gerber off the nice pass from Jamie Jackson. Gerber in double digits as she scores 10. Then another freshman, Grace Pyle, steps out. How about 11 tonight for Pyle? 3 of them right there. But this one, a nice night for the seniors as well, specifically Erin Davis. Set a career high with 20 on Saturday. That 3 right there, a new career high. She scored 21. And then Tristan Gay, quickest release you'll ever see. 11 points, 4 assists. Sydney Crane, another great night for her all around. She had 9 and 6 assists. Gorillas just blew out Newman. 88-50 the final. Here's Erin Davis on that new career high of 21 points.
I'm here. I'm excited for it every day. I think my teammates are really helping me find my open shots, so I think that's really what's going well for me right now.
It's moving really slow for her, the game is, and so I think that that's where she's able to really get her feet set, and she's just, like I said, playing free. They're having a lot of fun right now, and I think there's just a really good vibe going on right now between teammates.
On the men's side, Gorillas aiming for back-to-back wins and doing so in that conference opener against the Newman Jets. Good start. Cameron Huffner gets the lay-in and the foul. Gorillas find themselves on top early. Then Newman gets hot for just a tad bit. Israel Barnes with the 3, and the Jets go up 17-10. But Pitt State closes the half strong. Tyler Hawkins behind everybody. Flush it two-handed. He puts up 12, and then Magic Welliford for the 3. Isaiah James on fire, beats the shot clock. He had a team-high 24. Finish it off with John Waters. Bucket and foul. Waters, 9 points, 5 rebounds. Gorillas win the MIAA opener. Final score, 71-66. Also opening night of the Lady Tigers Invitational at Carthage High School. Hometown Tigers hit the floor in their first game to face the Harbor Wildcats. Carthage 1-1 in the first 2 games of the season. Kiana Yates playing a little defense, says, give me that pass. Takes it to the other end, drives hard, off the glass. And no reason to stop right there. She flopped. Again, going to give her the foul. Raven Probert, offensive board, lays it back in for 2. Carthage just playing tough down low. Now Carthage trails by 8 when Kaylin Coons, more little defense. Coons picks it off, layup at the other end. Tigers down 27-20. Back to Yates. 3-pointer, good. She had a team-high 20. But the Wildcats were just too much. Coons, as a matter of fact, had 32. Carthage falls in the tournament opener. Harbor wins it 51-42. In the other opening game, it was Webb against Waynesville. Webb City wins this win by 10. A little defensive battle right there. Final score 34-24. Joplin High School senior Ella Hafer signed to continue her basketball career at the college level as Hafer is headed to Miami next season to play at NEO. Hafer, a 6-foot forward, played just 2 games in her junior season due to injury. Now she's back and healthy for her senior year and through 4 games this year, 10 points per game for the Eagles. Here's Hafer on why NEO is the right place to be for her next stop.
I really liked the coaches there, and the college was just really nice, had that campus feel. They were really welcoming, and they just made me feel right at home whenever I got there. I'm very thankful to even be playing right now, and just like throughout my journey, just very thankful for every opportunity.
Congratulations to Ella and the entire Hafer family. You want to talk about feeling old? See Ella deciding to play college ball. I remember her dad's first ever college game. Webb City Cardinals just 2 days away from playing for a state football championship. Cards on the field Friday night in Columbia. They've got Holt. It's the Class 5 state title game. Webb City 10-3 headed into Friday's game. Holt undefeated, 13-0. Now the Cardinals, as you know, they're no strangers. You bring in an undefeated team, there's a good chance John Roderick and his kiddos going to knock them off. That's because the Cardinals have knocked off undefeated Carthage for a district title. They beat undefeated Jackson in the state semis last week. Webb City scored 35 in each of the last 2 games, but it's really been the Webb City defense that's given them the spark they need to make it to this title game.
We struggled a lot for several weeks defensively, but you know, we're playing really well on defense, and that's been the catalyst, I think, for us, you know, as far as our overall team success. If you can get some momentum in a game like this, it seems like, you know, in our experience, it's always been a real plus to get some momentum. So that's certainly going to be on our minds when we start on Friday.
Remember, we got a double dip up in Columbia this weekend with Lamar playing for a state title game. and turn around and Webb City taking the field. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the Women's Tennis Association announces an immediate suspension of all tournaments in China. We're going to find out why. And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Our temperatures all over the place this morning. We got little pockets. I don't know why I'm like illustrating it with my hands. I've got graphics and maps and colors that are way cooler than me like trying to explain it. So Dylan, if you would. Thank you, sir. Down to the south, look at that Miami Grove J line. 36, 36, 38. Now, Joplin's at 52. Carthage is at 51. That's actually warm. And then we've got 38 in Anderson, 38 in Neodesha. Just kind of one of those weird mornings where you just get a little cold spot every now and then. But still, we're anticipating near record high temperatures for this afternoon as we push up into the mid-70s. If we get to 74 at Joplin Regional or 73 in Chanute, we will tie the record for December the 2nd. Overnight, clear skies, and look at those temperatures. I think we'll see much more consistent 50s tomorrow morning than what we are right now. And really, not a worry in the world until we get to Saturday night, late Saturday night, early Sunday, and that's just some light rain, but then you notice our temperatures drop throughout Sunday, all the way down below freezing for Sunday night into Monday. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Thank you, Zuckerberg, and our morning Insta poll. White House touting major changes to our nation's largest ports aimed at curbing transportation bottlenecks. And meanwhile, the Commerce Secretary is raising concerns that the Omicron variant may make the ongoing global supply chain even worse. Jen Sullivan has an update on what's being done to address challenges as we head into the holiday season.
Taking action to strengthen the nation's supply chains.
We're heading into a holiday season on very strong shape. It's not because of luck.
President Joe Biden highlighting his administration's work to move goods more quickly.
By working with business and labor, my administration has been able to handle the huge surge in goods moving through some of our biggest ports.
On Wednesday, Biden touting his decision back in October to allow West Coast ports to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to reduce congestion. Biden also praised the move by private sector port operators to eliminate fees for truck drivers picking up containers at night or on weekends. In allowing truckers to drive more hours when they're transporting gas, food, and medical supplies. Biden says over the last month, containers were left sitting on docks over 8 days. But that's changing.
Now it's down by 40%, which means they're heading to shelves and stores more quickly.
This comes as the White House waits to learn more about the new Omicron variant and whether it could pose a threat to the nation's economic recovery. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo says Omicron could worsen a nationwide worker shortage.
It's too soon to tell, way too soon to tell. But I do worry because we know people are afraid to go to work.
But President Biden is staying positive, saying several leading retailers are telling him they're seeing progress.
The CEOs I met with this week reported that their inventories are up, shelves are well stocked, and they're ready to meet the consumer demand for the holidays.
So before we get to the question, let's address the elephant in the room. Folks, I do not know how Jane got a string quartet to play behind her while she was voicing that story. It caught me off guard as well. Evidently, she has friends in the music industry, and they were like, we're not doing anything today. We'll come play behind you while you voice this. So maybe that's how it happened. Our question for you this morning, have supply chain issues impacted you? KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Healthwatch next.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, more countries are reporting cases of the Omnicron variant, including the U.S., with the first reported case in California. Scientists in the U.S. are working to understand this new strain and how contagious it may be. David Begnow gets an inside look in New York City.
Health officials around the world are concerned about the new variant Omicron because it has a never-before-seen number of spike proteins which the virus uses to enter cells in the human body. There are labs around the U.S. that are testing to see where Omicron is going to pop up first.
We're sequencing the COVID genome of thousands of positive COVID samples.
We went to the Pandemic Response Lab just outside New York City to meet John Laurent. He is head of research and development here. The U.S. is sequencing 80,000 positive PCR tests every week to look for variants. That way, they can determine how fast the variants are spreading and how infectious they are. About 2,000 of those sequences occur right here.
Our turnaround time here, once we get a sample in, is about 3 days.
That may seem like a long time, but these scientists insist it is as fast as they can go. The samples are pooled together, sequenced, and analyzed to search for Omicron and other variants. Right now, the Delta variant makes up more than 99% of cases worldwide.
How long did it take for Delta to become the majority of all COVID positive patients in New York City?
Thinking back on that, I think it was probably 6 to 8 weeks from the time we first sort of saw it and then really saw it take off. And it took off very quickly.
That's pretty fast.
Yes, it was very fast.
So is it your guess that once you detect Omicron, within, let's say, a month and a half to 2 months, it could be the majority of everything?
It could definitely be.
Scientists say over the next week or two, they're going to learn a lot more about how this new variant will impact the pandemic. David Begnos, CBS News, New York.
According to the World Health Organization, Omnicron is the 5th COVID-19 variant of concern identified. The last one was the Delta variant. So far in 2021, 1 in every 10 lung transplants in the United States has gone to a patient with lung damage related to COVID-19. That's according to the United Network for Organ Sharing. Officials there say the U.S. is expected to do roughly 2,500 lung transplants in 2021, which is on par with the past 5 years. Among the reasons why lung transplants are necessary include cystic fibrosis and COPD. The U.S. Department of Health say there are approximately 1,000 patients on a lung transplant wait list. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tanya Bach with your KOAM News Update. The residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. Yesterday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. City of Joplin also became more merry and bright. Missouri Southern lit up its Christmas tree and lights outside of the Student Center and an event called Southern Lights. The university also offered carriage rides, arts and crafts, and a photo booth. The Southern Lights event was also a chance for students participating in the school's Angel Tree program to pick up their gifts. Here's Michael with today's.
Just a delightful Thursday, and almost, it could very well be a record-setting Thursday as we'll keep our eyes on where we top out this afternoon. Sunshine and not too windy. That's going to be really nice, just in from the south-southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, as we push through Friday, we'll have another chance to set a record. And then we got developments coming our way for the weekend. Here we go. Saturday, we begin to see it formulate down to the south. Really doesn't even begin south of I-44 until we get into Saturday night. Carry us over into Sunday morning. And then we've got a little bit of a cold front. Look at that, Sunday down into Monday. So take advantage of the next 2 days as we're December in the 70s.
Coming up, authorities take one man into custody after finding stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction. And experts say winterizing your home will not only lower energy costs, but can prepare you for all types of weather. Also, Missouri Southern State University lights up the campus with holiday cheer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
That was perfect timing by my health
Right to
system.
catch your
By
cough
my
there.
health system right there. That was tremendous. No, I feel like $1 million is fine. I tell you what, we're going to concentrate quite a bit on the daily almanac because we're going to be talking about those record highs, but also too, the average high for this time of year would be 52, and that is exactly where we stand already in Joplin. Now remember, sunrise won't be here until 7:14, so my, what a warm up we're going to have for our Thursday. We still have some temperatures that are hovering in the mid-30s down in Miami and in Grove, and then we're as high as 52 and 51 in Carthage, 50 in Lamar. And southeast Kansas all over the place. You got 49 in Pittsburgh, you got 11 degrees lower in Neodesha and in Parsons. Now, the wind not really going to play a factor. So many times when we get abnormally warm temperatures, especially when it's been dry and whatnot, we're like, it's going to be 30-mile-an-hour gusts of wind. Nah, the wind really doesn't pick up until Saturday. We're going to be able to pull this off for the next 2 days. As our temperature test changes, we got a huge drop-off in the south and the southeast, and then we got a nice little bump up for people up in the northwest. But Skywatch Storm Tracker is looking absolutely great. Now, as we move through our afternoon, get up into the mid-70s, get 74, that's our magic number at Joplin Regional Airport. Great overnight temps, only down into the 50s. We'll have more widespread 50s. We'll be able to drop a lot of those 30s for this time tomorrow morning. Let's jump into Future Track. So as we get into Friday, we're going to rinse and repeat, even with a little growing cloud cover, still going to throw up 70s there on Friday. Now, as we get into Saturday, here you begin to see that formulate more so down to the south. But what's going to happen here, late Saturday night into Sunday morning, it tries to make its way in toward us. Not looking at anything severe by any means. The big difference, Tanya, is what comes behind that rain from the north-northwest. Cold front's going to drop us down throughout Sunday to the point where we're below the freezing mark for Sunday night into Monday morning.
Right. It's going to be a big change from
from sitting in the 70s.
Yeah, big change. All right, thanks, Michael. One man is in custody after authorities found stolen property and a large amount of meth at a home in Carl Junction. Detectives with the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team served a warrant at a home in CJ after what they call a long-term investigation. They found several stolen items on the property, including a stolen pickup out of Cedar County, a UTV out of Kansas, a camper out of Jasper County, and several trailers. Odette detectives also found a large amount of meth in a camper on that property. The J.M. Smucker Company announces it sold its dry dog food business located in Frontenac, Kansas. Diamond Pet Foods bought the business in a deal that the company says is worth roughly $33 million. In a press release, Rob Ferguson, Senior VP and General Manager of Smucker's Pet Food Division, said, quote, "This divestiture enables us to focus investments and resources on areas of our pet food and pet snacks business positioned for growth and profitability." The company did not say how the deal would affect employees at the Frontenac plant. The city of Joplin yesterday became a little more merry and bright. Missouri Southern lit up its Christmas tree and lights outside of the Student Center in an event called Southern Lights. University also offered carriage rides, arts and crafts, and a photo booth.
This is definitely a family event. This is probably the event where we have most of our families come out to, like our non-traditional students that have a family. This is definitely the most popular event for them because their kids can enjoy it as well. It's definitely another great aspect of this event.
Southern Lights event was also a chance for students participating in the school's Angel Tree program to pick up their gifts. Well, now that it is December, it might be time to get your home ready for colder weather. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with a weatherization expert on the most cost-effective ways to get your home ready for winter.
As winter approaches, colder temperatures are on the horizon. Experts say it's best to start preparing for them now.
You just never know in Missouri when the weather's going to turn. We're weatherizing all year round, but we definitely have people calling in now with asking for these low-cost, no-cost tips, and I would definitely get going on it before the cold weather hits.
Brian Peterson is the Director of Weatherization for the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin. He says that after how cold winter was last year, it's important to take measures to ensure you can keep yourself warm this winter. And they offer services to do that at little to no cost.
A lot of people, even though they thought they were prepared, they weren't prepared. So definitely, take all the measures you can to be prepared.
Measures such as leaving your faucet dripping or keeping cabinets open.
That will help the water lines in your house to not freeze. So leaving them dripping, and it's got to be a pretty consistent drip. But yeah, leaving the cabinet doors open, allowing heat to get in there, maybe some portable space heaters in the bathrooms or areas that are secluded.
If you are worried about keeping your home warm this winter and don't know where to begin, Peterson says they're here to help.
We provide a low-income weatherization program. We operate at 200% of the federal poverty level as our income guidelines. So we encourage everybody to get in an application.
With new federal money from the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill, Peterson says they're encouraging more people to apply.
There was money for weatherization in that. So we will be getting a pretty significant influx of money, and we're looking to ramp up our waiting list. So if you think you might qualify, we encourage you to apply.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
One of Peterson's biggest tips to keep energy costs low this winter is to turn your thermostat down 5 degrees cooler. That can save between $150 to $250 a year. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Pandemic has kept Santa away, but we'll see how he's turned to some old school technology to spread holiday cheer. Plus, storms and snow melt push an already saturated British Columbia to renewed flood warnings. We'll have the latest. But first, it's 5:37.
Yeah, we're going to dive into the Pacific Northwest here in a little bit. They got a mess on their hands up there. And it's that phrase that we have to use every now and then, atmospheric river. That's what's causing all their flooding and their rain. For us, it's abnormally dry. We need a little rain. We were way down for the month of November as a whole, and at least December will feed us some scattered showers here over the weekend. But for the next 2 days, it's going to be abnormally dry, and it's going to be super abnormally warm. We're talking about a good 20-25 degrees warmer than what we'd anticipate for a December 2nd afternoon. Sunny skies, mid-70s, and then overnight, get some more widespread 50s certainly than what we have right now. Skywatch Storm Tracker, Future Tracks, they are staying clear for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, bringing us a mixture of clouds. Majority of the rain starts down to the south of I-44, carries us from really, it's not going to be on us until late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, and nothing severe. But certainly a taste of December returning, or I guess we haven't had it, so we can't say it's returning, but a taste of normal December is here for us for Sunday night into Monday morning. We'll be back with World Watch right after this. What a Thursday we have in store with sunshine, temperatures into the mid-70s. And now usually when something like this happens, we talk about having to fight some nasty winds, and that's really not the case. We'll be able to hang just between 5 to 10 miles per hour, an indicator that, well, I tell you what, we got a chance to break records not only for today, but also for tomorrow, and of course, all the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Topping World Watch, another storm in the Canadian province of British Columbia delivered heavy rain to areas still recovering from last month's catastrophic flooding. Southwestern section of the province is now under a flood watch. And their new concerns, warmer temperatures could melt snow and push water levels even higher. Lindsay Duncombe reports.
For homeowners in the flood zone, the waiting, watching, and worry continues.
There's only so much you can do with this kind of a disaster.
British Columbia may have so far avoided catastrophe with this latest storm, but there is still chaos in much of the province. An accident not far from a small landslide closed a key highway for a few hours.
Slow down, be patient, accept that it will take longer to get to where you need to go.
As the rain begins to slow, cautious relief sets in across BC. In the hard-hit Fraser Valley, all that work paid off. The dikes appear to have held, even as the city recorded an all-time record for the amount of November rainfall, 521 millimeters.
That's 21 inches of rain, just a little over. And that is 1/3 of our, actually a little bit more than 1/3 of our total rainfall in a year.
Rain should end by tonight, but rivers remain a flooding risk.
Temperatures have actually only just started to rise in our mountains overnight. We were really worried about that. We have avalanche warnings in place. The tops of our mountains are only just starting to melt, and that is going to enter into the watersheds. We're not expecting to see all the rivers across the south coast peak until much later today.
That's why some homeowners are still nervous.
When it gets to this level, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it was slow up until this morning, and it seemed to get faster. So I think I'm more prepared this time. It was the first time that was really the shock, right, of seeing how fast it filled up, and what we had to do is scramble to get the house saved.
This latest storm may be on its way out, but in a province rattled, anxiety remains.
The Women's Tennis Association, or WTA, Chairman and CEO Steve Simon has announced an immediate suspension of all WTA tournaments in China, including Hong Kong. In a statement released Wednesday, Simon said the decision was based on the lack of transparency by Chinese officials following tennis player Peng Shuai's allegation of sexual assault against a top Chinese government official. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, the supply chain. Despite supply chain issues continuing into December, there may be light at the end of the tunnel, at least according to the White House. Back in October, President Biden made a decision to allow ports to remain open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to attempt to reduce congestion. On Wednesday, he praised private sector port operators for eliminating fees for truck drivers picking up containers at night or on weekends. And then the Omicron variant arrived. Whether the latest COVID variant poses a threat to our economic recovery, well, that remains to be seen. But in the meantime, several leading retailers say they are seeing progress. Our question to you, have supply chain issues affected you? Right now, 58% of you say yes, you've been looking for something and probably hasn't been there. 42% of you so far looking out and say no, it has been of no effect. I found this out the hard way when I didn't even know that, well, none of us knew that there was going to be a supply chain bottleneck. All I was looking for was a strand of lights for somebody. And then it dawned on me that the 8 different locations I went to, nobody had any lights. Feel free to log on at any time to our Facebook page, KOAM News Now, or go directly to the poll, koamnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this. Sunshine going to lift us all up into the 70s, which is interesting because number one, it challenges a record, but number two, compared to where our temperatures were this morning, they were all over the board in the high 30s and the mid 50s. So we all kind of average out there in the 70s, and we don't have to fight the wind, so that'll be nice. Overnight, a whole bunch of 50s. My goodness, that should be around our daily high for December. Anyway, back-to-back records Thursday and Friday.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Now that it's December, it might be time to start thinking of ways to weatherize our homes, and experts say it's not just something to do in the winter months. Economic Security Corporation's Weatherization unit says there are things we can do now and even year-round to prepare homes for all kinds of weather. On Wednesday at McDonald County Schools, kids were breaking the rules, wearing hats in school. They were allowed to do so because they donated at least $1 to the county's Shop with a Hero program. That program matches a child in need with an area first responder to go shopping for Christmas gifts. McDonald County Shop with a Hero program usually serves around 140 kids, but because of an increased need this year, the department is setting a goal to serve 200 families. Social work students at Pitt State yesterday showcased their hard work. The Community Project Showcase was a chance for students to present how they've been helping members of the community, ranging from foster children to veterans. Social work students at PSU can now pursue a master's degree through a partnership with KU. The residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. On Wednesday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Probably want a light jacket when you do head out the door, but you certainly aren't going to need it for this afternoon nor this evening. Already 52 degrees over 7th and Range Line. Temperatures ranging anywhere from 36, some of our low points down in Miami and in Grove. Joplin still our high point at 52, 50s throughout southwest Missouri, Nevada, Lamar, Carthage. And then a whole bunch of 40s in southeast Kansas, whether it be Chanute, Pittsburgh, or Oswego. Not going to have to put up with a strong wind. That's going to be nice because usually, we get something abnormally warm this time of year. And we kind of go, well, how blustery is it going to be? Not bad at all. Now, this is just kind of interesting, our 24-hour temperature change. Look down to the south where we've got double-digit decreases from where we were on Wednesday morning compared to a little positive bump up in the northwest. That's why it's just been one of those mornings where some of you may want an actual coat. Skywatch storm tracker, clear as can be, and nationally, we talked about this a little bit, all that flooding that they have on the Pacific Northwest. You can tell the jet stream coming off the Pacific right there with the old atmospheric river. And really, the jet stream hasn't moved, and because of that, the warmth just keeps on heading our way. We've been incrementally warming up here past couple of days to the point where we're going to challenge records on Thursday and Friday. Whole bunch of sunshine, and then as we dip overnight, managed to stay in the 50s, so That'll be much more consistent than what we have now. As far as future track goes, we need a little rain. We're just not going to pick anything up either today or Friday or most of Saturday. You'll notice there we finally get a little green that formulates at the bottom of the screen on Saturday, but give you an idea of exactly where it's going to come from. Really not going to be affecting us until we get to, say Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then it pushes off to the east after that. Tell you what, there's some colder temperatures up behind Sunday's rain, that's for sure. We're going to duck down below the freezing mark for Sunday night into Monday morning, so get out and enjoy these near record, if not record-breaking high temperatures on Thursday and Friday. We'll be back right after this.
The pandemic has limited kids' access to Santa Claus for the past couple of years, so the jolly old elf is apparently turning to technology to help keep in touch. Mark Salinger has his story.
Come on.
Far from Santa's workshop,
We're going to look up the North Pole's coordinate. Ah, look at that. He gave it to me. Sweet.
Chuck Pock
So we'll put him in here.
knows where to find old Saint Nick.
I met Santa probably about 8 years ago.
The pandemic stopped children from going to the mall or Christmas parties to drop off their wish lists.
Last year I did no public events in person.
It also forced Santa
You see it on there? No.
to get good at using technology.
This is a bad day for computers at my place.
Basically, I am using a remote control software to get into Santa's computer.
Chuck is the president of the Longmont Amateur Radio Club. Tonight, he'll connect children to the North Pole.
K0 ITP radio check. Anybody listening?
This is Santa at N0P, and we have sound good and clear here.
Using ham radios and computers,
Lydia, how old are you?
children get to talk to Santa again.
I'm 5 years old, she says.
Santa's workshop has more technology now. Children across the state can get on the radio and talk to him.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Are you children getting ready for Christmas? Is your tree up?
Even in a strange year, some stories stay the same.
She always says, Santa, how many cookies did you eat last night? I don't know. I was too busy to count them. Ho, ho, ho.
One conversation at a time.
Love you all. Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho.
The radio takes Santa into homes.
If I can make someone laugh for 10 seconds somewhere in their day, that's worth any foolishness that I might do.
Well, don't worry, if you're not a ham radio enthusiast, Santa says he's also connecting with people over Zoom. We'll be right back with one more look at the forecast.
Too much.
Just not a whole lot of movement in our temperatures right now. Everybody just kind of stuck where they are, and we're waiting on this warm up, but you got to remember sunrise isn't until 7:14. And we haven't seen much of that pre-sunrise drop in our temperatures either. Like I said, we've been very, very stagnant right now, but just spread all over the place from about 35 all the way to 52 in Joplin. Weather trend for today, challenging that record. Need to get up to 74 at Joplin Regional Airport. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, authorities take one man into custody after finding stolen property and a large amount of meth at a home in Carl Junction. And experts say winterizing your home will not only lower energy costs, but can prepare you for all types of weather. Also, Missouri Southern State University lights up the campus with holiday cheer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
Hi, right here on the left-hand portion of your screen, and I've got the tower camera outside the mothership zoomed out, but you can see a sliver of the moon right there, and with the naked eye, it's absolutely gorgeous, and gives you an idea of exactly how clear our skies are as well. Ah, there we go.
There we go.
It's
tiny.
It's gorgeous early morning, and then we can turn our attention to some warmth. It's going to lift us up around that record high, around 1970s mark of 74 degrees, as we already sit at 53 right now in Joplin. Now, a little bit deceiving because you go, oh, widespread 50s? No, that is not the case. Mahem is our low spot right now at 35, and then we've got mid-40s in southeast Kansas. Then we move into the 50s on the north side of I-44 through southwest Missouri. So like, yeah, we're here, there, and everywhere on the thermometer. Skywatch storm tracker, give you an idea of just how clear we are. And nationally, that old pesky jet stream, and we shouldn't complain because it's feeding us warmth, but this is not helping anybody on the Pacific Northwest, that is for sure. But you get on the south side of those arrows right there, and you're going to see a nice little warm up to the tune of around, say 74 degrees this afternoon. That is unreal for this time of year. As we push into Friday, we're going to have additional 70s show up for Friday, even with the mix of cloud cover. Then we see a little green begin to formulate, and we need it. We need some rain, but it's not really going to take effect here until we get into, say, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Then we'll get a taste of true December weather, dropping below the freezing point there for Sunday night into Monday morning.
All right. Enjoy today, that's for sure. Do you
And
think
tomorrow.
we will break a record today?
I think
I'm
going to say we're going to tie it. You know me, I always want a record, especially when it's a high temp. I think we're going to tie it.
Warmer. Hey, and if it's a record for heat, second day of December, nice.
We got a better chance of breaking Chanute than we do in Joplin. Put it that way.
We'll keep an eye on it. Stay tuned tomorrow morning to find out if it happened.
No, join us at noon.
Oh, we'd break it by noon?
No, but I'll have a record watch update.
Well, yeah.
I'm stringing people along here, Tanya.
I know. True. If we break it by noon, though, my goodness.
We break it by noon, we got issues.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
We gonna have some afternoon issues. We break this thing by noon.
Then I won't be yelling at those kids in shorts.
You're not gonna show up in shorts and a tank top for the noon if that's the case.
There were kids in shorts last weekend running around town.
We'll see a couple 70s already on the board when we do the noon.
Wow.
We will.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, one man is in custody after authorities found stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction. Detectives with the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team served a warrant at a home in CJ after what they call a long-term investigation. They found several stolen items on the property, including a stolen pickup out of Cedar County, a UTV out of Kansas, a camper out of Jasper County, and several trailers. Odette detectives also found a large amount of methamphetamine in a camper on that property. A Tulsa, Oklahoma man is hospitalized and is in police custody after police say he shot an officer. Investigators say the man believed his wife was cheating on him during a trip to Houston. He reportedly threatened to kill her when she returned home. She contacted police and they escorted her to a car at Tulsa's airport. At that point, police say the husband opened fire on the car. The wife and a man identified as her brother drove away as police chased the suspect into a parking garage. He shot an officer in the chest before police shot him in the foot. The officer was wearing a bulletproof vest and is expected to be okay. The woman and her brother are cooperating with the investigation. Tulsa's airport was reopened after a brief early morning shutdown on Wednesday. The J.M. Smucker Company announces it sold its dry dog food business located in Frontenac, Kansas. Diamond Pet Foods bought the business in a deal that the company says is worth roughly $33 million. In a press release, Rob Ferguson, who's the senior VP and general manager of Smucker's Pet Food Division, said, quote, "This divestiture enables us to focus investments and resources on area of our pet food and pet snacks business positioned for growth and profitability." The company did not say how the deal would affect employees at the Frontenac plant. Dr. Lee Norman, who led Kansas through the coronavirus pandemic until his abrupt departure last month, says he was fauci'd out by COVID-19 politics. Governor Laura Kelly announced on November 19th that Norman had stepped down after serving as the health department's top administrator since Governor Kelly took office in January of 2019. But in an interview with Kansas News Service, Norman says he was asked to resign. He cites constant friction between the governor and the Republican-led legislature and compares himself to Dr. Anthony Fauci, the federal government's top infectious disease expert. Well, now that it is December, it might be time to start thinking of ways to weatherize our homes. And experts say it's not just something to do in the winter months. Economic Security Corporation's Weatherization unit says there are things we can do now and even year-round to prepare homes for all kinds of weather. They tell us one tip that could save a lot this winter.
We call them low cost, no cost energy saving tips. So one of the things is to turn your thermostat down 5 degrees and maybe wear a little more clothes. So turning it down 5 degrees can save you between $150 to $250 a year on your heating bills.
You can find more information on the services the Economic Security Corporation provides on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Wednesday, McDonald County Schools kids were breaking the rules, wearing hats in school. They were allowed to do so because they donated at least $1 to the county's Shop with a Hero program. That program matches a child in need with an area first responder to go shopping for Christmas gifts.
Shop with a Hero is to me an amazing community event that involves both the schools and all the first responders in our area, and then also our families. So it is the true epitome of what a community is when they come together and support one another.
McDonald County's Shop with a Hero program usually serves around 140 kids, but because of an increased need this year, the department is setting a goal to serve 200 families. Residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. Yesterday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. City of Joplin also became more merry and bright. Missouri Southern lit up its Christmas tree and lights outside the Student Center in an event called Southern Lights. University also offered carriage rides, arts and crafts, and a photo booth.
This is definitely a family event. This is probably the event where we have most of our families come out to, like our non-traditional students that have a family. This is definitely the most popular event for them because their kids can enjoy it as well. It's definitely another great aspect of this event.
The Southern Lights event was also a chance for students participating in the school's Angel Tree program to pick up their gifts. 6:07.
Love my alma mater to death and surreptitiously slipped it in earlier during sports. I never had a chance to take a carriage ride in college. How cool is that?
I didn't either.
That's something else, man.
That's awesome that Southern's doing that.
That's doing it right. My goodness. Temperatures are all over the place. 35 in Miami compared to 53 in Joplin, and now Carthage joining the 53 club as well. So warm-up may begin just a little bit before sunrise at 7:14. We are headed into the 70s today. Just amazing for Thursday and Friday that we have a repeat. Cold fronts are coming, but that's not until Sunday night into Monday morning.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Monarch Butterflies have returned to the Central Coast in California, which is a good sign. Stick around and find out why. Plus, Omnicron has found its way to the U.S. Scientists are studying it to find out more about the variant and how deadly it really is. We'll have more and the latest on Omnicron. And some USPS post offices are struggling with hiring employees, causing a delay in delivering mail and picking up packages. We'll have more about these delays and reactions to them. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, if you're looking to get your Christmas gifts on time, you may be out of luck in some parts of the country. Staffing shortages at some post offices are leading to severe mail delays. Residents in Fluvanna and Louisa counties in Virginia say the problem has caught the eye of their politicians, but they feel like nothing has really changed. Carly Haynes has more on this story.
Packages piling up at shipping places like Safe Ship in Troy.
Owner's wife told me she suggested not to leave the packages there because nobody's been picking up the packages. I am not blaming the Safe Ship people at all. This is definitely a USPS issue, and it's going to get worse.
U.S. Postal Service staffing shortages throwing a wrench in the gears. Troy resident Robin Bryan.
We called, and they were saying that they were short mail carriers, and said it would be probably the end of December, January before we got our mail.
Though it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, it's not looking like Santa will meet the deadline for some.
And all of the Christmas cards and gift certificates, and nope, everything will be held up at the post office.
Mail carriers are leaving USPS in droves, often for personal reasons.
I asked them, could we come pick up our mail? And they said no, because if they didn't have the people to deliver it, they don't have the people to sort it.
Politicians have been pushing the USPS Virginia District Manager over the past few months. Senator Mark Warner calling for more job fairs and a planned holiday surge. Representative Abigail Spanberger relaunching a survey focused on mail delays. But the problem persists.
I can't see people getting evicted and going to jail for not paying their rent or paying a fine or IRS putting them in jail.
USPS representatives said in a statement that the post office has been operating under normal business hours and that there have been some brief mail delivery delays recently, but carriers from nearby offices help with coverage when needed. That's it for Consumer Watch. We'll be right back.
Just about 6:17 on this Thursday morning. That puts us about 57 minutes away from sunrise. That'll be at 7:14 over Joplin Regional Airport. What a beautiful, beautiful early morning we have. You'll notice just on the top left-hand side of your screen right there, a sliver of the moon. Looks much better with the naked eye, but down below that, by the horizon, you can also see it beginning just to lighten up. Our daily almanac on this December the 2nd would put our record high dating back to 1970, 74 degrees. That's what we're eyeballing today. As far as Chinook's record at Martin Johnson Airport, that is 73 degrees, a little bit more recent as it dates to 1995. Back to Joplin over 7th and Rangeline, 53 degrees right now. Wind is actually going to die down despite the fact that we have a nice little warm up and a wide variety of temperatures. We have seen a little bit of a bump here in Joplin and in Carthage. You can tell that by the color contour there where you see the yellow and the green, where it warms up a little bit faster compared to what we're seeing in northeast Oklahoma, where it's only 35 in Miami, 37 in Grove. And then southeast Kansas, just about everywhere you go, you're going to run into some mid-40s. Now, the temperature change test has about a wide variety as our actual temperatures. Up to the northwest, hey, 5 to 7 degrees warmer than yesterday. Drop down to the south, almost a 20-degree difference as it's cooler this morning than what it was in Grove on Wednesday morning. But just give it some time because the sunshine, once it rises, will quickly take effect, and we're going to have a delightful, if not warm, Thursday in store. A couple things we've been talking about. Number one, lack of the jet stream moving. It has just been consistent in this formation for really the past 3 days. Now you get below it, down to the south, that's going to be an indicator of some warmer temperatures. It forces all the precipitation, whether it be snow or rain, off to the east. But one thing it does not help with is you'll notice as it comes in off the Pacific right here, that's why they have all that massive flooding. We can kind of trace that up here. And not only the flooding, but also the mudslides becoming a legitimate danger along the Pacific Northwest, whether it be Washington State or even into British Columbia. Our afternoon planner here in the 4 states puts us up into the mid-70s. That's why we've been talking about records really all week long in anticipation of what's coming today and tomorrow. Overnight, we should be much more consistently in the 50s than what we see for our wide variety of temperatures this morning. We need some rain, however. Well, we're not going to get any on Thursday or Friday, but at least Saturday we begin to see the green formulate down to the south. Well, it doesn't play a role really in our Saturday daytime. Saturday night into early Sunday, we begin to see it take a little south to north route. Nothing severe by any means, but at this point in time, we'll take any drop we can get out of that elevated fire hazard that we've had for the past couple of days. And then we kind of wrap that up by, say about 9, 10 o'clock on Sunday. Now, after the rain rolls through, temperatures go the wrong way. Sunday down into Monday, we are below the freezing point. The Monarch Butterflies are back on the Central Coast this year, and experts say it's encouraging news after last year's dismal count. Ariana Jassa with more on the Monarch's growing numbers.
Around 100 monarch butterflies are estimated to make up the whole western population this year, with 12,000 plus in Pacific Grove. The most butterflies they've seen in 5 years. So the big question, why so many this year compared to last year when there were essentially none?
So if it was too dry here, if we didn't have enough nectar sources, if we didn't have the wind protection that they needed, they would decide to go elsewhere.
Eden Holmes says there are many things impacting monarch behavior, from climate change to droughts.
And it impacts their nectar sources, it impacts the milkweed that they'll need in the spring to lay their eggs. So if it's dry, it also means that it's warm. And the potential for them to breed too early, to mate too early, and then leave the overwintering sites looking for milkweed, and then it's not available, then they won't have any place to lay their eggs.
But this year, there are thousands of monarchs fluttering their wings, a welcome sight for the volunteers who count the butterflies each week. They do it early in the morning when the monarchs are clustered up, making it easier to count.
So we scout out the whole sanctuary, agree upon where we're going to count, and then with binoculars, we count individually ourselves. You visualize groups of 20 or more, what you're comfortable looking for, and then extrapolate that over the whole branch, add on another 20 to 30% depending on the density of the clusters.
A promising year so far for the western population of monarch butterflies, many hoping the trend continues.
Last year we had 0, this year we have 12,000. What next year is going to hold, that's going to be a surprise.
So sites are counted over a 3-week span, and this weekend happens to be the last countdown at the Pacific Grove site. We'll be back with Healthwatch right after this.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, the United States joins about 24 other countries with a confirmed case of the Omnicron variant of COVID-19. Health officials had said it was only a matter of time before it happened. And now the White House is making moves to fight the virus as the winter surge approaches. CBS's Laura Podesta has more.
Dr. Charles Chu is not surprised that the Omicron variant made its way into the U.S.
I'm almost certain that this finding is only the tip of the iceberg.
Chu works at the California lab that detected Omicron.
So essentially it's a microchip which consists of a bunch of electronics.
His team used this nanosequencer to confirm it in just a few hours.
If we had to run this on a traditional instrument, typically it takes at least a day.
The infected person returned to California from South Africa on November 22nd. They developed mild symptoms on Thanksgiving Day and got tested 3 days later.
The individual is self-quarantining, and all close contacts have been contacted, and all close contacts thus far have tested negative.
With much still unknown about the new variant, today President Biden will lay out new steps to fight COVID-19 this winter.
Not with shutdowns or lockdowns, but with more widespread vaccinations, boosters, testing, and more.
CBS News has learned the president is extending a requirement that people wear masks on airplanes, trains, and buses from January to mid-March. The White House is also expected to tighten the rules for anyone flying into the country. Right now, international travelers must have a negative test within 72 hours of their flight. That would change to 24 hours for everyone coming into the U.S. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Well, scientists say it will take 2 to 3 weeks to determine if the new variant spreads more easily or if it makes people more sick. The president, meanwhile, will visit the National Institutes of Health today. New data on how COVID-19 lockdowns affected the lives of the elderly and disabled. Researchers at the University of Minnesota tracked older people with vision or hearing loss and found they suffered mental and emotional issues from the social isolation. Patients said masks made conversation hard, and those with vision problems had difficulty without in-person help. A large trial of postmenopausal women with breast cancer found that some of those patients do not need chemotherapy to have a positive outcome. The study in the New England Journal of Medicine followed older women with HR positive, HER2 negative cancer and found no difference in survival after 5 years when patients skipped chemo after surgery. But premenopausal patients do seem to benefit from the treatment. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Beautiful shot outside of Television City. Got a sliver of the moon up in the top left-hand corner. Sky beginning to lighten as well. Officially sunrise at 7:14 over Joplin. Still sitting just at 53 and 52 in Joplin and Carthage. Then we got all the 40s in southeast Kansas, and really down south has been our cooler points. 36 in Miami, 38 in Anderson, and so they'll be the kind of last ones to warm up there. But we're all going to get plenty of sunshine today. We've got absolutely no cloud cover to worry about. Dry for not only today but also tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, if we challenge that record today, we might as well challenge a record for December the 3rd while we're at it. A little bit of scattered rain showers pick up late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Then Sunday is when we go back to what December should feel like, that overnight low of 28 in between Sunday night and Monday morning. So enjoy the sunshine and this warmth while it lasts.
anyone would.
Coming up, authorities take one man into custody after finding stolen property and a large amount of meth at a home in Carl Junction. And experts say winterizing your home will not only lower energy costs but can prepare you for all types of weather. Also, Missouri Southern State University lights up the campus with holiday cheer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
This shot outside of Television City just keeps on getting prettier by the second. There we go. That's a live look. As we still got a little sliver of the moon hanging on, the skies got about 8 different colors in them. It is absolutely gorgeous. Over 7th and Rangeline, we're beginning to bustle at the intersection. And what a great morning it is. 53 degrees is where we stand, 52 in Carthage. Those have been consistently been our warm spots. Our cooler spots have been down to the south. Miami at 36 and Grove at 35. And we've had a whole bunch of 40s ranging from about 41 to 45 all throughout southeast Kansas. That includes the 2 spots of 45 that are Pittsburgh and Chanute. Our magic number dating back to 1970 is 74 degrees at Joplin Regional Airport. 73 degrees is what our record high is at Martin Johnson Airport in Chanute. That only dates back to 1995, so a little bit more recency on that. And that's where we're headed. See if we can set any records today. Beautiful Skywatch storm tracker throughout the entire Midwest. We would like a little bit of rain, but we're not going to have any, whether it be for today or tomorrow. And tomorrow, the warmth just keeps on coming in. We're going to roll 70s today. We're going to roll 70s on Friday as well. Now, Saturday, that's when we finally see a little Gulf moisture begin to pick up there down to the south with some mixed cloud cover. Saturday afternoon, though, still going to be great, up into the 60s. And then Saturday night into Sunday morning, that's when we get scattered rains as it moves in from the south. Nothing severe. Not everybody's going to have the opportunity to get some rain, even though, like I said, it is much needed. Then we get ready for a cold front for Sunday night into Monday morning. More importantly, I'll be prisoner of the moment, and let's concentrate on a record watch.
Yeah, see how close we can get at noon, and if we've passed it, tomorrow morning.
Yes, Tanya and I were saying if we have passed our records at the noon hour, which we're not going to, if we are, we're just don't tell the brass this. We're going to walk out in shorts and tank tops, and I'll have like a fan going.
I didn't bring any shorts, and I'm not coming out in my underwear.
I think I put my shorts like in the plastic bin 3 months ago. I haven't even thought about them.
In the plastic bin? Oh, you mean like a winter
like a storage bin?
Like your storage bin. So you switch out your summer and winter clothes?
Yeah.
Like shorts, long underwear, switching them out.
I'm a dork. It's okay. I'm cool with it.
I understand.
That's why I get a smile on my face when, like May rolls around. And I'm like, oh, we can switch them out.
That's right. I figured you'd wait till June.
No, there's some years I have.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Michael. One man is in custody after authorities find stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction. Detectives with the Ozark Drug Enforcement Team served a warrant at a home in CJ after what they call a long-term investigation. They found several stolen items on the property, including a stolen pickup out of Cedar County, a UTV out of Kansas, a camper out of Jasper County, and several trailers. Odette detectives also found a large amount of meth in a camper on that property. The city of Joplin yesterday also became more merry and bright. Missouri Southern lit up its Christmas tree and lights outside of the Student Center in an event called Southern Lights. University also offered carriage rides, arts and crafts, and a photo booth.
This is definitely a family event. This is probably the event where we have most of our families come out to, like our non-traditional students that have a family. This is definitely the most popular event for them because their kids can enjoy it as well. It's definitely another great aspect of this event.
Southern Lights event was also a chance for students participating in the school's Angel Tree program to pick up their gifts. Well, now that it's December, it might be time to get your home ready for colder weather. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with a weatherization expert on the most cost-effective ways to get your home ready for winter.
As winter approaches, colder temperatures are on the horizon. Experts say it's best to start preparing for them now.
You just never know in Missouri when the weather's going to turn. We're weatherizing all year round, but we definitely have people calling in now with asking for these low-cost, no-cost tips, and I would definitely get going on it before the cold weather hits.
Brian Peterson is the director of weatherization for the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin. He says that after how cold winter was last year, it's important to take measures to ensure you can keep yourself warm this winter. And they offer services to do that at little to no cost.
A lot of people, even though they thought they were prepared, they weren't prepared. So definitely, take all the measures you can to be prepared.
Measures such as leaving your faucet dripping or keeping cabinets open.
That will help the water lines in your house to not freeze. So leaving them dripping, and it's got to be a pretty consistent drip. But yeah, leaving the cabinet doors open, allowing heat to get in there, maybe some portable space heaters in the bathrooms or areas that are secluded.
If you are worried about keeping your home warm this winter and don't know where to begin, Peterson says they're here to help.
We provide a low-income weatherization program. We operate at 200% of the federal poverty level as our income guidelines. So we encourage everybody to get in an application.
With new federal money from the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill, Peterson says they're encouraging more people to apply.
There was money for weatherization in that. So we will be getting a pretty significant influx of money, and we're looking to ramp up our waiting list. So if you think you might qualify, we encourage you to apply.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
One of Peterson's biggest tips to keep energy costs low this winter is to turn your thermostat down 5 degrees cooler. You can save between $150 to $250 a year. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A fourth person dies after a tragic shooting in Michigan. The suspect is now being charged as an adult alongside charges of terrorism. Plus, issues created by supply chains are on the rise, even in the 4 states. We want to know, have you personally been impacted by them? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
And then this looking Thursday, temperatures up into the mid-70s. Really not going to be too windy, which is unusual when we get close to setting a record high, especially this time of year. Almost roll it again on Friday before we get some light scattered rain on Saturday and Sunday, Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then a cold front for Sunday night into Monday. We'll be back with Nationwatch next.
Topping Nationwatch this morning, new details from yesterday in the deadly Michigan high school shooting. Investigators say the 15-year-old suspect accused of killing 4 students is being charged as an adult. And as Camilla Bernal explains, he now faces first-degree murder, terrorism, and other charges.
Students, teachers, and parents grieving.
Justin. I can't see 2 of my closest friends.
And investigators explaining what happened at Oxford High School in Michigan.
I can tell you he came out of the bathroom with the firearm and began shooting.
4 students dead. And authorities now say the shooter fired more than 30 shots and had 18 rounds of ammunition left.
And I am absolutely sure, after reviewing the evidence, that it isn't even a close call. It was absolutely premeditated.
The county prosecutor charging the accused gunman as an adult and adding that there's a mountain of digital evidence that gives him confidence in the 4 charges of first-degree murder. The shooter also faces terrorism and other charges. He was arraigned Wednesday afternoon, where his attorney entered a not guilty plea. The Oakland County Sheriff says the suspect shot people at close range, but it appears the shootings were random. Authorities say videos on his phone talked about shooting and killing students.
The day before, it was a meeting with school personnel about some concerning behavior, and the meeting the day of was with school personnel and parents.
The suspect faces life in prison if convicted. I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
The mother and father of the suspect could also face charges. That's according to authorities. When asked what charges are being considered, the prosecutor would not give details. Ransomware attack on Planned Parenthood in Los Angeles has exposed the personal data of nearly 500,000 patients. Healthcare providers said it happened in October. That's according to a breach notification the organization sent to victims. An unidentified perpetrator stole documents that contained sensitive information on some patients, like insurance information, their diagnoses, procedure, or prescription. Spokesperson for Planned Parenthood Los Angeles said there is no evidence that it was a targeted attack or that the stolen information has been used for fraudulent purposes. Well, a woman who testified Wednesday in the sex trafficking trial of Jeffrey Epstein's longtime companion said she met Donald Trump at 14 years old during a trip to Mar-a-Lago. The woman, who the court identified as Jane, said she flew on Epstein's private plane several times, but did not accuse Trump or any other passengers of wrongdoing. President Trump has not yet responded to a request for comment. The woman testified that she was sexually abused by Maxwell and Epstein, but said Epstein never asked her to recruit other girls or asked her to be sexually involved with anyone else. Testimony came on day 3 of Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. She faces 6 federal charges, including sex trafficking of minors. Prosecutors say she was involved in a scheme to lure and recruit underage girls for Epstein's sexual purposes. The trial has illuminated some of Epstein's connections to high-profile figures like President Trump, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew. Voters in Georgia might soon experience a case of deja vu. Stacey Abrams officially announced she is running for governor of the Peach State. This means there is a chance she could face off against incumbent Republican Governor Brian Kemp. You'll remember in 2018, Kemp beat Abrams by less than 1.5 points. Abrams is a voting rights advocate and a former member of the Georgia House of Representatives. In a tweet posted Wednesday, Abrams says she is running for office because opportunities for Georgians should not be, quote, determined by zip code, background, or access to power. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, supply chain impacts. Despite supply chain issues continuing into December, White House says it sees some light at the end of the tunnel. In October, President Biden made a decision to allow ports to remain open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in an attempt to reduce congestion. On Wednesday, the President praised private sector port operators for eliminating fees for truck drivers picking up containers, whether it be at night or on weekends. And of course, then Omnicron came. So whether the latest COVID variant poses a threat to economic recovery, well, that remains to be seen. But in the meantime, several leading retailers say they are seeing progress. Our question to you this morning is, have supply chain issues affected you or your family? 60% of you say yes, you've been to the stores and can't find what you're looking for. 40% of you say no, so far you've lucked out. Maybe revisit this poll here as we get closer to Christmas and see what shows up at front doors and what does not. And I hope everything does get delivered to you in plenty of time. We'll be back with birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Private First Class Glenn Lotman in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Pittsburgh, Kansas, joined the military in 1943 as a member of the 216th Army Air Force. He served as an aerial engineer, earning a number of honors, among them the American Theater Ribbon and the World War II Victory Medal. To Glenn Lotman, we thank you, our four-state hero.
The birthday list begins with Isaac Coverdale. That's a lounging picture right there, my man, as he celebrates his first birthday. Isaac, a very happy birthday in Joplin.
All right, and we've got Danielle Kerr turning 12 years old this year. Danielle is in Chanute. Birthday love coming from Mom, Dad, and Serena.
Lexi Carpenter is celebrating a 17th birthday. Lexi, a very happy birthday to you. She is celebrating in Carl Junction.
Right, Miss Peggy Spriggs is turning 74 years old this year. Happy birthday, Peggy, out in Oswego.
Merle Hamilton is celebrating 74 as well. Mr. Merle, a happy birthday in Jasper.
And in Moran, Jason Botts, birthday wishes to you.
Mr. Henry Moss Jr. is celebrating his 97th birthday. Mr. Moss, a big happy birthday from all of us here at the station. He is in Oswego. Twyla Peak, Miss Twyla, celebrating her 85th, and a happy birthday to you, Twyla. And Jeremy celebrating 41. Now, the birthday was yesterday, but Jeremy, we wanted to make sure that we got your happy birthday wish on from your father. So a happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this December the 2nd. That's where you can send them into birthdays at KOAMTV.com, or if you choose to go the interweb route, KOAMNewsNow.com. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you can get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Great looking side outside of Television City as we now begin a little bit of our warm-up, awaiting sunrise still, but now starting to see 7th and Rangeline begin to be illuminated, where we've had a very steady 53 degrees and Carthage right behind at 52. Out throughout southeast Kansas, it's been mainly 40s, whether it be 45 in Pittsburgh or Chanute, 41 in Neodesha, and throughout northeast Oklahoma, it's been consistently the 30s. Still have 36 in Miami and 35 in Grove. We've been eyeing the daily almanac today because that record high from 1970 of 74 degrees will be challenged at Chanute. The record high is 73, that dates back to 1995. And here's why. Once that sun takes effect and it rises over Joplin at 7:14, we can let the warm-up begin. Nothing going on in the Midwest. The jet stream, third consecutive day, it has not budged. And so what that's doing is allowing us to get under those arrows. You get to the south of those arrows, that's where you see the warmer temperatures, and that's exactly where we are right now. So we're going to move up into the mid-70s. That's why we've been talking about possibly breaking some records here on this December the 2nd. Breeze won't be too bad either. It'll come in from the south-southwest, but just do so at 5 to 10 miles per hour, which is a little unusual because when we talk about extreme warm temperatures this time of year, that's usually followed with very gusty southerly winds. Actually won't be the case, whether it be today or tomorrow. Tonight into Friday, should see a lot more 50s. We shouldn't have to fight a whole lot of 30s tomorrow morning. And that means even Friday, even with some mixture of cloud cover, Friday we're still going to make it into the 70s. We need a little rain though. We've been abnormally dry. So here we go. Saturday we see it begin to formulate down to the south, but it really won't be upon us until we get into late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and it's going to be very scattered. Not everybody's going to be able to pick up rain. Saturday and Sunday's temps still looking great, mid-60s, can't complain about that. But look at what happens in between Sunday and Monday, is we're going to bottom out there in the high 20s. Next week then, more seasonable, certainly more seasonable than what we're going to have for today and to tomorrow. We will be back and wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Now that it is December, it might be time to start thinking about ways to weatherize our homes, and experts say it's not just something to do in the winter months. Economic Security Corporation's Weatherization unit says there are things we could do now and even year-round to prepare homes for all kinds of weather. On Wednesday at McDonald County Schools, kids were breaking the rules, wearing hats in school. They were allowed to do so because they donated at least $1 to the county's Shop with a Hero program. That program matches a child in need with an area first responder to go shopping for Christmas gifts. McDonald County's Shop with a Hero program usually serves around 140 kids. But because of an increased need this year, the department is setting a goal to serve 200 families. Social work students at Pitt State showcased their hard work this week. The Community Project Showcase was a chance for students to present how they've been helping members of the community, ranging from foster children to veterans. Social work students at PSU can now pursue a master's degree through a partnership with KU. And the residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. Yesterday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
In store for a warm Thursday, gorgeous start right there. Find ourselves 19 minutes away from sunrise over the 4 states and a weather trend that has mid-70s for this afternoon. How about we almost rinse and repeat on Friday? Got a chance to challenge records on back-to-back days before some scattered rain moves in on Saturday night into Sunday morning. Not going to be widespread, however. And then a cold front hits us for Sunday night into Monday morning.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making Santa's spritzer in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. We've got the CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
What do you want to do this morning?
Oh, a lot more fun.
I want to do
sure.
Pacific Northwest atmospheric flooding resolving in mudslides.
I want to talk about National Mutt Day, like the dogs, mutt.
Oh, I thought you said Mud Day. And I'm like,
No.
well, let's not do that if I'm talking mudslides. National Mutt Day.
No, and
T is in Tom.
And maybe we can highlight People of the Year.
Ah, People of the Year. Got it. All right, we're going to flip on over to Fox 14, so join us over there. And that wraps it up for this Thursday edition. Enjoy some sunshine, some warmer temps. Do me a favor. Be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.
There's casinos.